Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, November 1st, and this is Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading. My name is Todd Rich. I am with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple is Brian Caprice. Before Brian and I jump into it today, I do need to quickly share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So what are we looking at today? Well, today we've got a couple of things that are some hot spots in the markets that we're going to be taking a look at. We will be taking a look at the equities. Equities are opening in the green, being led by the Dow and the Russell. You can see Dow's making a little bit of a pullback right now. Who knows? Maybe once people get into it, maybe we get lucky and see them push this thing up to 36,000 just to get there. But we'll take a look at the equities. The other thing we're going to take a look at are the energies. And it's kind of interesting is we've got a different story in the energy sector. We've got oil trading higher. It's punched up from, it touched 81 late last week. It's now back up above 84. Nat gas, on the other hand, gapped lower, which is interesting because here in Chicago, it's below freezing right now. Woke up and it's 30 degrees outside, and it's it's a little
it's nice.
It's a little
nice
brisk.
fall here. Yeah, it's nice fall here. It's sweatshirt. I'm good to go.
So we're going to take a look at that, and then of course we'll give you some color commentary because there is a report out later this morning that we'll have to keep an eye on at 10 a.m. And the story on everyone's mind this week is going to probably be keep an eye on Wednesday when the Fed is supposed to announce their policy. We'll get a little bit of color commentary into that. But Brian, I'm going to flip it over to you. I think just for this morning, because this is all we really have is equities trading higher, and then the little bit of a divergent story between oil and nat gas.
Yeah, I mean, so far, coming into Monday morning, obviously the European session and Asian session have been already open for the night. Really not a whole lot of movement. Euro dollar is up a little bit. Euro pound is also up about 19 pips, but again, retracing right now. That kind of seems to be what we're seeing across the board. Big news this morning, obviously for the United States, is the ISM manufacturing PMI. It's supposed to be a little bit lower than expected. It's really the biggest bit of U.S. news today. I will say, and again, just kind of a caveat for later on this evening, we do have the RBA rate statement and cash rate tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the news thus far is that this is where they're basically signaling their retreat. There's some, talking about this is the retreat from the extremes of the ultra loose monetary policy and what is shaping up to be a historic policy shift necessitated by the recovery and growth in inflation. So basically changing their methods tonight. That could be a big deal. And again, with nothing else really going on, even into the go on.
And by the way, I think we're going to hear that from every central bank,
yep.
except for maybe the Fed on Wednesday. I don't know.
Well, and New Zealand. New Zealand's already done it. So, I mean, New Zealand's already raised their rates. So there's really nothing. Really, tonight, tomorrow, there's really no major news releases. But again, with the lack of that, and again, Australia talking about it, if we hear the inflation story again, the Aussie dollar is basically flat in the last 24 hours, but this will be a big move tonight. We'll see how much, and the way to trade this, guys, is look to see how much premium is stacked into those things, into the binaries, and even the call spreads maybe. But again, it is also Monday night, so again, keep those knockouts. So there's a lot of opportunity tonight. We'll see what they're going to say. Remember, the expectation is they're going to start making that big shift. If they say nothing, if they say it's transitory and just say that, the same type of language we've heard, that's going to be a lot of weakness coming back in. Again, you can see this Aussie dollar tank through the floor. So again, short duration contracts, take advantage of a small move in the overnight. And again, you can play it that way. As far as kind of what was, where we're going with energies right now, oil's been rallying up. Now you guys can see that the 3 o'clock window kicks in really right here at the start of the blue. So it's been more or less straight up, and not necessarily surprised by this. We've seen some airline companies and travel talk about how, they're seeing demand restoring again. There's no major news releases out there that are saying it. It is a little bit colder, but typically the oil number is not necessarily associated with cold as much. There's not much heating oil demand out there. And people are obviously not using gasoline and things like that for, heating their homes. Not quite the most efficient of things. But I will say, with it rallying up again, we always, we talked about this Friday, how we saw this really kind of overly big push down, and don't be surprised if we have a retracement. And it retraced all the way back on Friday and actually closed higher than what the European move was, kind of that engulfing pattern here. And then we had a bit of a gap. So, if we follow the same kind of path and saying, hey, listen, it's been nothing but straight up in the European session, if we can find some sellers up top, will we turn and roll back down? And, there's an area right here at 84.42 that we talked about. There was a little bit of a gap and a test, and there's some sellers sitting there, as well as there's an area just slightly higher than that as well, up in kind of this range. So kind of two levels that's got to go through. What?
It's actually interesting here. I was just going to show this from the recent move on the fibs on the retracement. That 84.30 is the 76 level. I mean, we're hitting it right now.
Yeah.
So again, kind of combining yours with the fibs, and we certainly are at a little bit of a level right now.
And I would say the more common situation that we see is down in European session, up in U.S. session. As the price gets driven down, and then gold trade or oil traders shoot it back up again.
Yeah.
Again, down, up, down, up. You saw this down here, and then this was kind of just scattered. When we get the up, we tend, we sometimes get this up pattern. So the question is, with it being at 84.33, if we don't get the reversal, if the sellers don't really step in, and again, this is because of everybody saying, hey, listen, we're opening back up again. Demand is high, demand is high, demand is high. And OPEC is like, I don't hear anything. What? I mean, they're milking every single penny they can. If we push up, the question is, do we get up to that 85 to 85.50 range today with kind of an up scenario like we had over here, where we had a bit of a pullback? And actually, let's see, that is, it's right around the 50%. So question is, if we drop at the open, do we use fibs on this one to grab a pullback? And again, I'll draw it. We'll see if it, this comes to fruition. But if we have a pullback in this range into this level at 33.50, is that the takeoff point that kind of brings us higher? And again, this would be more of an extension tool versus a retracement. You guys can, like I said, the extension tool is more to kind of predict where it's going to go. You pull up, and then you kind of pull back and down. But you guys get the idea here, and then back and forth. So I got like fibs on top of fibs here. I'm messing everything up. Anyway,
so definitely oil is definitely moving this morning. One of the hot spots.
I would say, and again, kind of see what the nature. There's going to be profit taking. There's going to be a pullback. The question is, are we going to stay strong with the trend we see? And again, when we have up, we tend to see up more than we see up down. Down up is much more common because obviously everybody knows the U.S. likes the oil. We love the black gold. Natural gas is also a big mover. This is 1.1%. Although this trade is pretty much, I would say it was. Come on.
This gap lower was a little bit of a surprise. If you ask me.
To an extent, it was a level that we talked about last week. It was another gap. It was the gap from the week prior. So when we saw this big push up again, we were looking for some type of an area. And this is why I said it's always important to kind of check these positions over the weekend. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the policies are going to be, the comments that people make over the weekend. Sunday night gaps are really, really fun to play. Typically, when we talk about futures markets and when we talk about the currency markets, you don't really get gaps because of the 24-hour nature of the market. Stocks, obviously, there's gaps every single day because the market closes. There's more time that it's not open than it's actually open. And yes, there's after-hours trading, but the volatile, there's not volume there and things like that. But something like this, this is a futures contract, right? You don't get gaps often, but when you get them back into areas where, again, we know there was a big imbalance in price, it launched it higher. All it did was really retrace back again. So, it ended a Friday. We had one entire week worth of movement, and then it came back down. So in 1 week, all of this movement.
We're in nothing.
we were right back where we started, right? So, it's kind of funny how that works out. Now, again, there was already the gap. It already occurred. The 1 to 3 has already come back up again. Some people would have been looking for the gap fill, but again, you should have been using it from this level. We're bouncing off that same area. Now, we've hit them here. I would say watch this one. I would say right now, based off of where oil is with the big push up, it's probably more set for a bit of a pullback as profit taking occurs. Natural gas is already down. We know it gapped, and it rallied up as well, too. And that 5 o'clock number became the magical number. Now, we started here. We pushed it deep. We hit the area again, and then we kind of drove lower, but we know we have now sellers, and I'll move this back there. We know we have sellers sitting right here. We know we now have sellers sitting right in here, also pushing this back down again. We have buyers fighting them, but pretty soon we could, start pushing back into lower levels down here into the, let's see here, horizontal ray. Really, the test is coming in about that level right there, $5.20. So Are we, going to continue this push to the downside? I would say, this level's trying its best. Again, if oil starts to really kind of turn and flip as that profit taking comes in and starts heading down, natural gas traders say, up, oil's going down. Okay, let's continue the weakness over here on natural gas, and then we continue to push this lower. So, it's 520 on the books today. Maybe. Again, we got a couple levels we got to break through. I would say the next big level of profit taking is going to occur. Actually, I should probably turn this green. Actually, I'll just turn both black so we can see them a little bit better. Next one is down here at 513. So the question is, is this what natural gas is going to look like till 2:30 today?
So
I would say it's on the radar. So
clearly in play, though. We got those energies moving around oddly in divergent ways. Now, we do have the ISM manufacturing number this morning at 10 a.m.
Yeah, and that's going to be a Dow, and that'll be a Dow play, yeah.
And the Dow is, and I don't know, is the Dow moving higher now? Let's take a peek at some levels. I mean, it's near all-time highs. I know it's rolling over a little bit. I don't know if people are setting up so they can sell it. Or if that number is going to come in, and are we just?
Yeah, I would say right now. I mean, you can see that the 3 o'clock window is right here. So it was already. It did the same thing. It looks almost like natural gas, except instead of the big push down and gap up, it was a pullback gap. It came up on Friday, and then we had the gap area. It pulled up, went right around that 35,800. Pulled back down in the overnight. While Europeans stepped in right here at 3 o'clock, right when it was hitting off the gap, and went higher. So there was our overnight based trade. Now we're seeing the pullback, and it's the same thing. It is the profit taking from the European session. Why continue to hold this and risk all of this gains right here when the U.S. trader wasn't involved? But now that the U.S. trader is starting to come online in this time frame, you got to get out. Why? There's no reason to put that at risk. So I would say this pullback is probably more lined up. A lot of today's movement is going to depend on this ISM manufacturing number. There really is no other news. The only news that we were getting, and we can't even see it over here, is really this infrastructure package. And the infrastructure package now is down to 1.75. It's half of what it originally started as. Some people are happy with some of the things that are in there. Some people are not. So I don't really think it's officially approved yet. I mean, if it got approved, that would suddenly be a big boost. But it's not here yet. So, I would say a lot of this today hinges upon that ISM. What I would do is, again, drop it down to 15-minute. There's no real clean level sitting here right now, unfortunately. And again, it's Monday that happens. But the Dow is going to be obviously heavily reliant upon it. But with it pulling back, I would say that it probably continues to trend lower. I don't think in 30 minutes we're going to get all the way back down to this level here, right where these buyers were. But right now, I would say it looks like it's more of kind of a pullback. And then again, ISM being at 10 o'clock, that's a great time for a reversal. Maybe it just kind of meanders around a little bit and treat the 10 o'clock news window as your open instead of the 9:30, because it's in such close proximity, and it is definitely a high impact news move in the Dow. ES, it's kind of the same thing. It's punched higher. It is also rolling back again. It did the same exact thing for those of you that follow gaps. The gap on this one just happened to be at 4,600. It came back down. It grabbed it in the overnight and took off. Same exact story, straight up 1 to 3. Now rolling back over again. NQ came up, is messing around with 15,900. Kind of the same thing.
It's all look almost identical at the moment.
They're all there's a gap in every single one of them.
Yeah.
Same one, everything, and then Europeans came online right here, shot it higher, and again, there's all your overnight plays. And then Russell is a little bit different, didn't quite come back and touch the gap. Again, it's kind of a parabolic retracement right now. Strong move up at 4 o'clock and is meandering all the way back down again, and it's really going to kind of, I would assume that this one continues to go lower until the open, coming down to 2,300. But again, they're all great areas with lack of any news. And again, if I have ISM manufacturing comes in and it's strong, increased manufacturing, that's all good signs. So I mean, that's all those should be reasons to go higher.
Anything above 50, it's increasing. Just realized the last number was around 61. Its impact, it's forecast to be slightly lower. It's 60.5. So we'll see what that number actually comes in at. But at 10 a.m., definitely be paying attention to how that number gets reported, because then that will it will probably have some type of impact on the markets this morning, and that's going to be the opportunity.
And here's the dollar. I mean, the dollar says 23.6, but it's going sideways across the 23.6. And again, you're not trading the dollar directly, but with the dollar going across 23.6, it will be affected by the ISM manufacturing number, because again, that's how they control that one, is with interest and things like that, interest rates. So again, with it being set up in kind of a racetrack here, the dollar starts to shoot lower very, very fast. That's going to affect a lot of equities. Again, dollar getting weaker should make it a little bit nicer for the equities. And then again, you'll have some movement in gold and silver as well in reaction to it. So again, everything is linked in there. But again, with the dollar here, everybody's starting to watch this ISM manufacturing number. So,
And that's what we got for today. And then
Yep.
also eyes ahead to Wednesday when the Fed comes out with their policy, and we start taking bets on whether they say the word transitory or transient.
yeah.
Maybe they'll switch
Yeah.
to temporary. I don't know. They're gonna
Maybe
pick a
that's the day
different
we look at the
keyword.
event binaries and figure out what kind of event binaries they have for the FOMC statement.
That would actually be
There
kind
you
of fun. What's
Binaries
the
on, is it
language they
transitory?
use?
Is it, you know,
And then, of
Yeah.
course, Friday we've got unemployment and
it's non-farm, yeah.
non-farm payrolls and the
Mhm.
unemployment rate. So we do have some things coming up later this week where we'll get a glimpse. In the meantime, that's what we got for today. Any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can email Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? And
Give away $1 million? No, just kidding.
no.
Just kidding, compliance. I'm just kidding.
There's a couple of things I wanted to share this morning. While I got everyone. Number one, this is a kind of a cool little tool for people if you're you want to kind of see what kind of trader you are. We do have a quiz that we've put out on the Nadex website. It's kind of fun. It's based on your psychology, so uh, it's definitely an interesting thing that you can play around with a little bit. The other thing that I wanted to tee up is IG is going to be having a if I could find it. Uh, I think I found it. They've got an event coming up in a week, and I'm going to find the link for it. I know it's in here somewhere. There it is. They've got a trading summit on Trading FX. And so I wanted to quickly, and I'm going to put this up earlier tomorrow to give people an opportunity to find it. There it is. Brian's going to be speaking at that event. And there we go. I'd recommend if you guys want to register, go ahead. It's an IG foreign exchange trading summit going to be about how to analyze the FX markets, some different tools and trading styles that you might learn something. So I would encourage everyone, if you want to join, come register for the IG FX Trading Summit. Learn all about trading FX markets. With that, I want to thank everyone for joining this morning. I think our quick little recap is we've got some divergence in the energy markets, oil trading higher, nat gas trading lower, and equities all looking to open slightly in the green. Keep an eye on that Dow, and remember, we got that ISM number at 10 a.m. Thanks for joining, everyone, and we will catch you tomorrow. Good luck in the markets.